Intro music.
Come on in.
A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
They have acquired Eric Johnson and Fernando Tatis Jr. from the White Sox in exchange for James Shield.
Welcome to Slam Diego.
My name is James,
My name is Joey.
and this is the Brothers Padre.
James, it is the year of 2021. The baseball season is halfway through. The San Diego Padres season halfway through. Tonight will be the 81st game against Cincinnati Reds. And we're gonna recap the first half, James.
Yay!
Yes. James, how you feeling? How you feeling about the first 81?
If you would have told me the beginning of the season, that halfway point we were going to be in third place, I was going to be really upset. But then if you would have mentioned we'd had 47 wins, we'd be in the top 5 of wins in all of the league. Okay. We are third in our division, but we're still in the top 5 best teams in baseball.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not upset at all. I'm very happy.
It's nice to be on this side of expectations. I think we had, if you go back to listen to our episode 0 to 2, we had lofty expectations for this season. We expected a lot from this team because we were told to expect a lot from this team. And for the most part, those expectations have been held.
Exactly, yes.
We are sitting 47 and 33, which is 4 games back from the Giants, who at some point we'll probably need to talk about more deeply, who are head of the division at 50 and 28. And then the Dodgers are second with 48-31. And it's like all 3 of us within 4 games of each other halfway through. We could still win the division, right? There's baseball chaotic, so this could still happen. But we're securely in the wild card spot. And like you said, we're top 5 teams in baseball. And so can't be too mad about that. And on pace to be a 94-win team. That's pretty good.
Very good, very good.
James, it has been a pretty eventful, I would say, first half. And we've had lots of contributors. So I'm going to go give you some stats, James. You know, I'm a big believer in WAR, wins above replacement. I'm going to be using Fangraphs WAR for this next segment.
Okay.
Not Baseball Reference WAR. They're 2 separate algorithms, James. And I think it's important to just get this out of the way. The current leader of wins above replacement, if you don't know, is, before I tell you, wins above replacement is a statistical category to define someone's wins they contribute to a team or they play on. So it takes every single offensive and defensive stat, not everyone, a lot of them, and kind of mold it into one number. If you're 0, you're a perfectly replaceable player across the league. If you're above that, you're very good. Or you're good. Way above that, you're very good. So currently, we are 81 games in. And James, who leads our team in WAR?
It would probably be Tatis Jr.
That would be Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yes,
He's
yes.
at 3.8 WAR, James. Most people say that if you average one WAR season, that's worth, in salary dollars, $8 million. So he's currently worth almost close to $32 million worth of salary, 81 games in. Pretty good.
So it's saying is we signed him for a bargain.
Pretty good. So he leads our team in WAR. He leads our team in home runs. He leads our team in stolen bases. He also leads our team in throwing errors. So, you know, can't win them all, James.
No. Every once in a while, you have to remember he's still only 21. And like when he makes a boneheaded play, like, he looks. Over the weekend, he made a throwing error, and the camera looked at him. He looked like he was a 13-year-old just screwed up for the first. Oh man,
it was rough. Who do you think leads our team in WRC Plus? Fernando Tatis Jr. Who leads the team in strikeout percentage for qualified batters, James? You know,
Darvish?
No. Let me make sure I get this. I don't want to disparage anyone. That would be Fernando Tatis Jr. as well.
Oh, so he strikes out more than any other batter.
He's had 257 play appearances, 28% strikeout percentage. But when you average a home run every 9 at bats, sure, strike out some.
Yeah.
It's fine. We'll be fine. The offensive leaderboard's very filled with one person. It's just one person is very good. On base percentage, though, based on qualified batters, Tommy Pham edges it out with an on-base percentage of 378, and Tatis has a meager 377 batting average. OBP, on-base percentage, rather. Trent Grisham is at 360, and our friend Austin Nola, who has not had enough plate appearances, but before he got hurt, had a 373. So those are all awesome guys to have on base a lot. So,
Yep.
Who do you think leads our team in batting average, qualified bats? Tatis Jr.
Yeah.
I don't want to play this game anymore. Most time it's just Tatis Jr. And that's awesome because we signed up for $340 million and he's acting like it.
Exactly. He's acting like the guy that we need.
Let's move on to pitching, James. We this season acquired a few pitchers, 3 of them, 3 new starting pitchers. Kind of 4 if you think Weathers, but we've had 4 newish pitchers, but 3 we acquired. Who do you think leads our team in pitching war, James?
It would have to be Darvish, right?
It would have to be Darvish, correct. Darvish is, for lack of a better term, just sensational. Has the most innings pitched out of all of the starters. Strikeout percentage is really interesting. I would have guessed Darvish leading, but he's not the leader here for qualified starters. Who do you think it is?
Musgrove.
Musgrove, correct. Technically, if we do non-qualifying, Jake Cronenworth's better than both of them. Left on base percentage, James, for qualified starters. Who do you think it is?
Left on base?
Left on base percentage. If you're a starter, the percentage in which you leave people on base.
Blake Snell.
Nope. Ryan Weathers.
Oh.
Okay, so he gets people on base, but he leaves them there. Also, Jake Cronenworth beats all of them.
He pitched 1 inning, struck out 2 batters.
100% left on base percentage. No one ever scores when Jake Cronenworth is on the mound. Innings pitched, like I said, Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove and Snell and then Paddock. Who do you think has the lowest home run per 9 percentage across the relievers and qualified relievers and qualified starters? Basically, who gives it the most home runs across 9 innings?
The most or the fewest?
The fewest across 9 innings.
If you add the relievers, I don't know.
Austin Adams. You want to guess his percentage?
Has he given up a single home run all year?
Not given a single home run all year. Because sliders are hard to hit.
Especially his slider.
33 games, 26.2 innings pitched, 0 home runs. He walks a little bit. He walks, and he hits people too. But, yeah. James, who do you think leads our starting pitching in ERA?
Is it Darvish again?
Nope.
Who is it?
That would be Joe Musgrove. Joe Musgrove at 2.22 earned run average.
The man's an all-star. What can I say?
Yeah. Also, it's important to note that Jake Cronenworth is also on top of that. And finally, James, my favorite, the ground ball percentage. James, who do you think leads qualified relievers or starters in our team in ground ball percentage?
Just find if that's your favorite.
It is one of my favorites. One of our favorites.
Okay. Darvish again?
He's a reliever.
Oh, reliever.
I'll give you a hint.
Tim Hill.
Timothy Hill. The Prince of Palomar.
Exactly. The king of Comet Circle.
62% ground ball rate. That works.
That works.
Yeah, I may have to add him to be one of the. I'll get ahead of myself, James. Those some stats and standings. Do you have any comments about stats and standings before I move on, James? Before our favorite moments?
For those of you listening, yeah, we're third place. We're poised to make a big push in July and August. We have an incredibly easy schedule the next 2 months. I don't think we're playing a single team above 500 the next 2 months. So I think we're going to make a solid push for the playoffs the next 2 months. So hang on there, Padre fans. We'll get first place in no time.
Yep. So, at the end, maybe at the end we'll talk about what do we expect the second half to be. But we're going to talk about our favorite moments that's happened so far.
There have been a few.
Yeah.
There have been a few, but we've narrowed it down to a few. And I'll start with it's a more recent one. We swept the Dodgers at home, reopening weekend. It was, to say the least, beautiful.
It was awesome.
It was truly awesome. We got to see Jake Cronenworth hit a home run every night off two of the best pitchers in the league, and one not so. I mean, he's all right. And we got to see our pitchers dominate, and it's always... There were so many things in each game that you want to talk about, but just to say you swept the Dodgers and we are currently winning our series against the Dodgers, you can't put a price on that. And I just think dominating the Dodgers, I've previously said, if the Padres were to lose every game from now on, the rest of their life of the team, but beat the Dodgers and trade every game, I would take that bet. I would rather see the Dodgers go home with the tails between their legs than the Padres ever win the World Series.
That's... You and I are different. I would take the opposite Faustian bargain. It was awesome. The next moment that we picked about the Dodgers sweep before we were on was awesome about the series. We did a recap of it a week ago, but they never led. They literally never had the lead.
They never had the lead. We had stand-up performance from the entire team. We started hitting the ball in the air again. Not Victor Caratini. Victor Caratini did hit a home run off Bauer, but our boy Ha-Seong Kim homered off Kershaw. Which is, if go online and watch the whole at bat, right. That at bat was, because we talked about in the recap. Kershaw throws a curveball, and it's a standard, devastating off the shelf curveball, just super
classic Kershaw, like crazy curveball.
And Ha-Seong Kim swings and misses, I will say this until the day I die. Ha-Seong Kim added a little extra flourish. He spun his hips a little around to make it look like it was the most bizarre thing he's ever seen. It's what you see in the KBO all the time. Clearly, Kershaw doesn't look at KBO replays, and that's his fault because they're fantastic. So Kershaw, being a fool and being fooled, throws another curveball at Kim, thinking, well, if he looked that dumb, and he knocked it into the Western Mineral Supply Building, yeah. And then Kershaw was like, oh, he was playing me, and it was brilliant. Oh, Kim, Oscar goes to Ha-Seong Kim.
Victor Caratini, also in the same homestand. Another moment we had. It felt walk-off home run against the Reds, and I should caveat all of this is that we came off a 1-9 road series, and it was reopening day, so lots of people in the stands.
The Padres need a big win to show the fans that we weren't
right.
That it was a bad road series. We've shaken off the dust. We need to get back into the game.
Wade Miley threw in a pretty good game. That through 7 innings pitch. Manny and Tatis both get solo shots off him. It was 2-0. And then in the 9th, Melanson blows his first real save. And it allows 4 runs in the 9th. It felt very deflating. It felt like, oh, wow, the Padres are really, really bad. Bottom 9th shows up. We get someone on base. Hosmer ties it with a 2-run shot. The stadium goes bananas. It's just if you follow us on Twitter at Brothers Padre, I post a clip of the stands just going insane, and it just people are going nuts. We get another hit. This man on base, and Victor Caratini walks it off. We win 4-2, and it just felt like, oh wow, we can fight back. We are a good team, and the fans. I think the fans gave a lot of wins this homestand, and it felt like we go 9-1 after that, so it felt like a huge turning point from the momentum shift of like we were just being beaten up on the road, and then we flipped it around 9-1 at home. It was awesome.
It was very awesome, and it was also the first walk-off home run of the year for the Padres, and it was beautiful. It was on reopening day. It was a phenomenal moment. Caratini is obviously not our number one catcher because Noel's been hurt all year, but Caratini, when it has mattered, has been Captain Clutch.
Oh yeah, incredible,
absolutely incredible.
I think. Well, we're going to do a segment later about exceed expectations, and a lot of people can come be a part of that. A lot of people stepped up, and he's stepped up incredibly. It's been awesome.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Well, the exceeding expectations have a lot of people on there,
right?
But we can't talk about we can't make this a 7-hour podcast. We're trying to keep it under a certain time amount. All right, so my next one will be Joey. Do you remember back in Houston?
Mm-hmm.
There was that time in the bottom of the 9th inning that the Padres were down.
I did, and I was like, I don't want to lose in Houston.
And there was 2 outs, and Tatis Jr., a known decent hitter, comes up and hits just a weak fly ball pop-up where the first baseman goes to grab it, and you think, well, the game is over. We've lost, but the first baseman falls like a fool and misses the ball.
Mm-hmm. So it's 2 outs, 2 men on base, 1-1.
Yeah. So then everyone's like, oh, they just give Tatis another pitch. Hope that doesn't come next hit. Boom! He left the stadium. There's a wall with a train track, and above that wall is the outside. Well, it's a window. He hit the window, and it bounced back. It was one of the best monster shots of the year, and it was just one of those things like, you don't give somebody an extra shot like that. It was awesome. And anyone who ever says Tatis Jr. isn't clutch, you're wrong. You're just wrong.
It was, enormous, like, light tower power shot, and it's probably one of his best stare downs of the home run. Just hits the home run, and he just holds the bat in hand and just stares. It's just awesome.
It was pretty awesome.
And ties it. If you look at Fangraph's win probability added graph, which is basically determines like how close you are to losing or winning, depending on who you are. It was 2 outs, with a strike, and there's 2 people on, but you're not going to tie it up. The probability is so low. But Tatis, he doesn't care about your probability added.
Yeah. And we won the game in extra innings, but that was a phenomenal home run. And, well, again, we could talk about Tatis Jr. all day.
Yeah. And don't worry, there'll be more Tatis Jr. podcasts.
Oh, yes. He's not going away.
I loved it. I love that the whole sequence of getting him that pitch and just bobbling it, seeing Presley be like, crap. You just seen his face. Because Presley, the second day in a row, I'm asked me 30-plus pitches. And you just tell him, I don't want to do this.
And the funny thing is, both the Padres broadcasters and the Astros broadcasters were like, oh, this is a moment. You don't give Tatis Jr. another at-bat. You don't show him another pitch. And, of course, our guys freaked, Don and Mud freaked out, and the Astros guys were like, yep, that's what happens.
James, final favorite moment. This is both of our favorite moments. I think we
flipped a coin. Who got to talk about it?
obviously, it's Joe Musgrove ending the historic drought the Penny Padres have had, which is he got the very first no-hitter in Texas this year.
And and also he got the first no-hitter of the season, which
Right.
makes it the best.
It's definitely worth watching. MLB has the full ninth inning on their YouTube. I think the Padres do too. It's definitely worth watching that, just realizing the moment. Joe Musgrove, I mean, we've talked about it in the podcast we recorded right afterwards, but, hometown kid, grew up here, had the same Padre logo on his arm he got when he was a teenager. His family had season tickets at both Jack Mercury, Qualcomm, and Petco, and loves it here. I mean, really does like being a San Diegan. He's as San Diego as you get, and to see him throw a no-hitter, I know I would have been emotional regardless if he threw a no-hitter, but it does, like, I rewatched that ninth inning today, and I was getting teary-eyed again. I'm like, I'm so soft. I don't care though. Like, it was such a powerful story. Like, it's just, he's the one that's grown up and seen, he picked the number because he loved Jake Peavy so much. Like, there's so many things that make this such a serendipitous moment in baseball. That's what makes baseball so beautiful when those things align, because when it started aligning, it was just like, this is meant to be, because it had to be someone like that to break it. And
It had to be, yeah.
Joe Musgrove, was hit Joey Gallo. That's the only difference between a perfect game and a no-hitter. He didn't throw a single fastball the last 3 innings because Victor Caratini was like, your stuff is working. Will's going to get quick outs, get ground balls, and it was awesome, man. I mean, it's a 2021 season. We have high hopes playoff-wise, but it's already given us such an incredible moment of seeing the replay of Victor Caratini jump into the arms of Joe Musgrove is incredible. Seeing how the San Diego's given him so much love. I mean, there's like Dallas Point gave him beer for life. Resident Beer Brewing gave him a free, like, a beer itself, No Joe IPA, and how receptive he is to it. I mean, literally after the first night of reopening day, he invites people to Resident Brewing, and he hangs out after his start, drinking beer, hanging out with fans.
And there's just tons of photos, and they're watching the fireworks together, drinking No Joe beer.
Yeah.
He is San Diego through and through. I mean, the mural is up. We have to do that before the season's over, go on a road trip and look at the murals of Tatis, Joe, and Manny. And he's, if there's any pitcher, any player in Padre history that deserves a statue at Petco Park for one achievement, it's No Joe.
Right.
The statue of him, the picture of him on the mural, him just screaming,
Yep.
needs to be a statue. He if he retired tomorrow, he's going to be in the booth day after tomorrow.
Right.
He's not going anywhere. He is a San Diegan.
Yeah, I think that he's the starting pitcher you extend.
Yes.
Right. I think he's the first one. Like, he's the one you're like, yeah, you're going to stay here for longer, because he's also a good pitcher. He leads the team in ERA. Like, he should be extended. He just, I don't know. I mean, I feel like after Tatis, Machado, like, it's Musgrove jerseys I see at the stadium.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
when we went, it was like, oh, there's tons of Musgrove jerseys.
Yeah.
And obviously there is, right? But yeah, I mean, it just, I mean, I'll still get choked up watching that replay of,
I have, if you were to look at my YouTube liked videos, I think I've liked 1,400 YouTube videos. 500 of them are Joe Musgrove no clips. I've watched that last inning a few times. Fan reactions, everybody. I have every version of the final out call from Mud and Don to Jesse and Tony Gwynn Jr. to the both of the Rangers guys, to our Spanish broadcast, to our Korean broadcast. I've watched them all, and they're all phenomenal, and they always get you there. It's always emotional, and it just always like that's our guy out there. That's San Diego's own Joe Musgrove throwing a no-hitter. It's a beautiful thing, and you could not have asked for a better way to start the season. That was his second start. We were 2 weeks into the season.
Yeah.
That was a dominant way of saying the Padres are real. We did sign another starter, another ace.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So there is one more. I did not tell Joey about this. I told him I was going to surprise him.
I'm very nervous.
So for years, this is another moment of the season that I think the Padres need to remember. For years, as Padre fans, we've been walked over.
Mm-hmm.
We've been treated badly.
Yep.
One man in Colorado
Oh, my God.
decided not to be treated badly. I don't know what the Colorado Rocky fan said to the Padre fan, but it was his fault. And
We don't know that.
And
We do know the charges have all been dropped. So,
anyways, it's hard to have it all dropped. So, so this Padre fan was like, you know what? No, I've seen a no-hitter this year. We have Tatis Jr. on our team. I'm not going to take this from you. And he walked over and knocked the Rocky fan out with one punch. It was a beautiful moment. It was a moment for our fan base to be like, yeah, we are real. Don't mess with us anymore. We're a true fan base. We have a true team. How many years has it been a Padre fan hospitalized by a Dodger fan? It's every year. And that Padre fan struck a blow for Padre fans everywhere. Don't mess with us. We have the right hook of, Muhammad Ali.
yeah. I mean, we don't condone any violence.
I'm not. No. My only regret to this thing is it wasn't a Dodger fan.
My goodness. Oh, man. Yeah. Fan interactions have been at all time. I think we mentioned earlier off mic about another fan interaction between a Dodgers fan and a Padres fan. When a Padres fan is laughing with a Dodgers fan and shows him a very rude gesture. You can find it easily on Twitter. And yeah, I think people have a lot of pent up anger these days. I think. I don't know what to say about that. I think it's funny because I probably think that was I think that moment got more traction online than Joe Musgrove no hitter. James.
Well, it was a one-hitter.
Oh, my goodness. One co-host of this podcast does not condone violence. One metaphoricizes violence for his own bit. Shall we move on to point number 3, James?
Yes.
In this section, we're going to talk about people that have exceeded our expectations. We had lofty expectations already, but we've had a few people that have exceeded it, James. You want to go first, James?
Well, we just talked about him. Joe Musgrove has become the second ace of our staff. Mm-hmm. Everyone thought, when he got traded for the Padres, just got a good number 3, number 4 starter. No, he is our number 2 starter. All due respect to Snell, he's done a good job. He's been a little inconsistent, but Musgrove has taken that spot, number 2 starter. Musgrove has gone head-to-head against some of the best names in baseball and starting, and has come up the leader. He pitched against Jacob deGrom, and he went almost pitch for pitch against Jacob deGrom. Obviously, Jacob deGrom is throwing 103 miles an hour, but they both went 6 innings not giving up a run.
Right.
Jacob deGrom's the best starter probably who's ever lived, and Musgrove pitched against him well enough to win that game if he wasn't Jacob deGrom.
Right.
So Musgrove has stepped up. He's become truly our number 2 starter. Any other lesser team, just Joe Musgrove would be their ace. Absolutely. And so I think Joe Musgrove deserves all the respect and even more than what we're giving him, because he truly has met every expectation, exceeded every expectation. He has been dominant, and that's my first guy.
Yeah, like leads the second in inning pitch for a team. 14 games started. I think back to, you just mentioned Blake Snell, and we mentioned the Houston game. We went extra innings the game that game against Houston. We won, and then the next game we also had an extra inning game and won. But we had 4 straight extra inning games, and the bullpen was exhausted. We threw every bullpen arm out there multiple times, and we were just dead. Blake Snell comes out on a Sunday versus the Astros. I can't remember if the day after. I think 2 games after the Tatis game tying shot, and Blake Snell does not have it. And so Joe Musgrove comes in and throws 5 innings pitch, right?
5.5 innings, yeah,
of no hit baseball, and just gives the entire bullpen a day off, and completely selfless, completely like for the team. Man, if you had told me that like their second best starter was also going to have an attitude of like, oh, I'll do whatever you want, Jace. Like I'll play left field for you.
He's played left field for us. That again, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
that's another reason why he deserves an extension, because he was willing to do that. You very rarely see Jace Tingler get emotional. When Joe Musgrove came off the field that day after doing that, we lost the game because Snell gave up 5 runs, but Musgrove didn't give up a single hit. Didn't give up a single hit.
Two of the best offensive teams in baseball.
Yeah, and he shut them down. Jace Tingler walked up and gave him a hug, pat him on the chest. He looked as proud as a manager could ever look at a player, cheering on Musgrove, because Musgrove did an Olympian-type selfless act, and it was incredible to see.
Yeah, no one in the history books is not going to remember Joe Musgrove's 5.2 innings pitch relief. But as fans, as teams, you're like, this is incredible. Absolutely awesome. James, one of my exceed expectations, you mentioned Joe Musgrove, and we need to talk about a little bit Jake the Rake, the Crone Zone. Jake Cronenworth, the actual best second baseman in baseball.
I agree.
Jake Cronenworth has a 2.8 WAR. He has a on base percentage of 350, batting average 287. He homers off really good pitchers. He has 2 homers off of Bauer. So does Tatis. Cronenworth basically won us all 3 of those Dodger games with homers in every single game. Dude plays an amazing second base. He plays first base. He can play shortstop. He can pitch. I think that Jake Cronenworth of last year, we knew like he's a good hitter, and he's like has a good eye at the plate. But he's actually shown us that he actually has a maturity at the plate. There's no sophomore slump with Jake Cronenworth. He's actually the player that possibly could, the best version of him last year. He's this year too. I think that I thought he was going to regress a little. I think that he doesn't have huge power. I just thought he wasn't going to do that well in a very tough division. But he's second best in WAR with 2.8. He's an incredible defensive ad, and it's crazy to have a guy this versatile, this good to play, who can be the 7-hole or the 3-hole hitter and not look out of place either one, and just be the guy that when he's a 3-hole hitter, he's getting the best pitches of his life because he's between either Manny or Tatis. So he's just
exactly. You're not gonna. Yeah.
But as a 7-hole hitter or as a 5-hole, he's still doing the same job. He's hitting balls the other way. In some ways, Jake Cronenworth and Trent Grisham are evolving almost to be the exact same kind of player. But I'm just blown away by Cronenworth being this good and being this mature and just keeping up that style of play that we saw from last year. So I think it's awesome. I think I don't know. I didn't have like low expectations for him, but I just assumed like a late start. You know, he's 27 years old. I just assumed that like that was just going to affect him. People are right. You know, get the book out on him and pitch him certain ways. But he's done so well. Second our teams in home runs. Like it's awesome. It's just awesome. It's awesome to have. It's awesome to assume that we traded Xavier Edwards, Hunter Renfroe for Tommy Pham and Jake Cronenworth, and Jake Cronenworth and Tommy Pham have done incredible things for this team. It's one of the best. It's one of the best trades the Padres have done.
Agreed. It's absolutely one of the best trades Padres have ever had.
Yeah. And
I'm throwing the Tatis trade in there because Jake Cronenworth and Tommy Pham have done out, especially this last couple of months, have carried this team. Mm-hmm. And Cronenworth, you also can't. He's easily one of the best defensive second basemen in the league. I remember someone saying all of his errors this year have come while playing first base. That's not his home base. You know, his home base is second base or shortstop is where he came up as. So, no, the fact that he is, and I think he was just named National League Player of the Week. I think that has given him more attention than he ever has had before. If that does not make him as a backup pick for the All-Star game, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
And next year, he will probably be a top vote getter for second baseman.
Yep. Yeah. I think it's awesome. Awesome to have a second baseman that can also pitch and also throw shortstop, also play first base. I don't know how he gets so lucky, but we did.
Phenomenal player. Phenomenal talent.
Yeah.
So my last guy who meets expectations, who exceeded expectations, was a pitcher we picked up for a 1-year contract. Everyone said, don't do it. He's not going to be that great. That's the Shark, Mark Melancon. He has been the best closer in baseball. And that's not me just saying that. That's the stats are saying that. He has the most saves in baseball. He's blown 1 save. 3, but the other 2 were in extra innings, and those don't count. I don't think, because it starts off with a man at second. And we end up winning those games anyway, so it doesn't look like he got the loss. He's blown 1 save, and we came back and won the game. He's been completely consistent. Even a couple games ago, when he pitched like 3 games in a row, he didn't have the best stuff, but we still won. He has been, again, one of the as far as players we signed during the offseason, he's the best person we've signed all year. There was that debate on who was going to be our closer, Melancon or Pomerantz. Melancon came out and was like, no, I'm the most veteran person on the team. I'm the closer. And he truly is. He's truly dominant in ways you only see veterans dominate. Right. He's crafty.
Right. Signed for a 1-year, $2 million contract with the Padres. That is
a steal.
That's couch cushion money. And he signed it because he said, I wanted to play for a team that had a chance at the World Series. Which just tickled us real pink.
Yeah.
And he said, really, that was it. He's like, I made my money. I mean, the San Francisco Giants signed him for a 4-year, $62 million contract 4 years ago. So he has money.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about money to him, which is, I mean, he could have easily gotten a much better deal. I mean, think about like Trevor Rosenthal, right? Now it's Tommy John, but he signed an $11 million 1-year deal with the A's, right? And Melancon could have easily got something close to that in multiple years, but stuck with us. And man, yeah, I mean, 24 saves already, 1.85 ERA. Just has done an incredible job of just, I think one of the things is just he's crazy at inducing ground balls. That curveball of his, like, it's one of those things like there's not a lot. You're not fooled by what, like, you're not like, oh, he's gonna throw me one of his 5 pitches. He throws a cutter and a curveball most of the time. You're not confused. The problem is that curveball has such a varied drop to it that even if you do know what's coming, it's catching up to it. And if you catch up, you just hits on downward plane.
Yeah, he could tell you, I'm throwing you my knuckle curve, and you wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, you said, well, it's like 24 saves. And just really, I would not have expected that level of domination that he's given us. Just because he's had issues in the past, but just, I think, yeah. You just see the number $2 million. Like Drew Pomeranz is signed with us for like 4 years, $45 million, something like that.
Yeah.
And so you think Mark Lance of 1 year and 2, you just like, well, if a guy make less, he must be that much less, and no less like, oh, you're going to be also our actual everyday closer. Mm-hmm. Drew Pomeranz, 4-year deal, 4-year contract. Yeah, it makes more money than Melanson, but he's not our closer. Yeah, I love it. I love Mark Melanson. I think it's one of the things. I wonder what we're going to do in the offseason. I wonder if we re-sign him again. I wonder.
It's one of the biggest things. I mean, the biggest call is that he is 37 or something like that. I think if he continues to be the way he does, he's deserved one more 1-year contract of $10 million.
How old is he? 36. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he deserves another, at least a 1 or 2 more year deal with what he did for us this year.
Yep.
And it's just, he's been Mr. My only problem, and I brought this up before, is we're the home of Trevor Hoffman's Hell's Bells. We can do more for him when he comes out.
You know, someone said on Twitter the other day that I didn't realize. Someone is postulating that there are, for baseball games, there's decibel limits. So you can't make it that much louder. So, I mean, I know my childhood tells me this. So I remember when Hell's Bells happened that they cranked that audio. It was beyond loud. And someone said, well, in Mission Valley and in Qualcomm Stadium, there's no residential around them. It's just, there's Qualcomm Stadium in this valley and it's all by itself. And they're saying Petco, you can't make it that loud and you can't make it that dramatic for safety reasons and for sound reasons.
That makes sense, but they could still do a lot more with building the hype up. I
think they should have Tesla coils. If we're going to do the electric thing, have literal Tesla coils like come out and just like literal lightning.
That's cool.
I'll be thunderstruck now.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, but I said he deserves way more credit than he's getting.
Yep.
And he's probably going to be an all-star.
He has to be, right? I mean,
exactly.
I mean, Joe Musgrove has to be an all-star. I mean, the people we mentioned right now, on this list, they should all be all-stars.
Yeah. Who's your last exceed expectations, Joe?
Yeah, it is the guy that is going to take up most of our payroll next year, and that is Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish, I think, came over, and we had high expectations. He was just, not because of how much we gave the Cubs, because we gave them kind of nothing, and Zach Davies. And I didn't know what to expect. I knew his pedigree. I think that's a great word to describe it. He's 11 pitches. You just have this idea that he's kind of a tricky, crafty player. And, you just see the age and you see, we're in a tougher division. And I just always thought we're not going to get that great Yu Darvish who played all the time in the Central, NL Central. I just thought that. And I'll gladly be wrong here because Yu Darvish has done an incredible job, averaging less than 2 runs a start, pitches 6 to 7 to 8 innings every start. We have a phenomenal record when he pitches. He has proven to be he's taken on the role of an ace and the veteran without having it drag him down whatsoever.
Oh yeah. I think what the best thing about him is with his 11 pitches, when everything is on, he is extra special.
Oh yeah.
But I've seen several starts where, okay, maybe his cutter isn't working. All he has is his fastball and his curveball. He will still throw just a fastball and a curveball for 7 innings and dominate a team. He could just throw, if he only has 2 pitches working, he'll make those 2 pitches be the best pitches anyone's ever seen.
Against the Dodgers this year, 6 innings pitch. Last game, 11 strikeouts. Before that, 7 innings pitch, 9 strikeouts. Before that, 7 innings pitch, 9 strikeouts. The dude is, when he wants to turn on, he's just beyond dominant. I
can't wait to see him in the playoffs.
I mean, the thing is, he doesn't strike people out, but he doesn't have a strikeout pitch. He has multiple strikeout pitches. Every one of his pitches can strike you out.
Exactly.
I don't know how many times we've seen it where he throws a 97-mile-an-hour strike right down the middle, and the batter's just frozen because they're expecting some loopy curveball, some slider, some other off speed, and it just. I mean, the thing is, he doesn't throw that 97 that often, so it just comes out of nowhere. And you're like, oh, gosh darn it,
yeah.
Gosh darn it.
And he makes it just like, oh, he was expecting something else. Oh, yeah, I think that's his best strikeout because just the batter is just like, oh, you beat me, man.
Yep.
But he is such a good pitcher. You can't imagine he's a Padre.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. You see jams. If he's in a quote unquote jam, like he'll get something out of it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna unravel. You just see this very calm guy, and he's incredibly popular in Japan. He has millions of followers on Twitter, on YouTube, and Instagram. He's probably the most famous person on the Padres in the world, and I don't think that's Tatis might probably close to him, but not like on. Social media wise, it's
no, not at all.
It's Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish in last start, on Sunday, Tim Hill relieved him, and Tim Hill. Did you see this blog post he posted?
No.
So he writes a blog post after every start, which is super funny.
Who Darvish does?
Yeah. And in the blog post, because he writes it all in Japanese, and so everyone has to translate it back into English to figure out what it is. So I understand that this is the part of humor is the bad translation, but effectively Tim Hill went up to Jarvis. I'm so sorry, you I let you down. I let score, and he's like, don't worry about it. Like you've done so much for me all season, and you've saved my butt multiple times, which has happened. I mean, you remember the time how many times did base load have been against the Giants, the Dodgers, and Tim Hill comes in and just shuts them down?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And just as kind of what Tim Hill's thing is. And then Darvish is like, most Americans aren't as like forgiving and like sorrowful as him, and but Tim Hill is. Always remember, everyone should celebrate a pure and innocent pitcher like Tim Hill. Just such a funny thing to say about your teammate, but just that's the kind of guy he is. He's a very
humble dude,
very humble guy, very observant guy, and it's been cool to see that side of him. And I think that the language barrier makes it kind of hard for most audience to see that humor. But when you see him in the dugout, you see him in interviews. He's a humble guy. He's a quirky guy. He's a fun. You can just tell he's a value add to.
Exactly.
And, we can't talk about Yu Darvish without talking about Caratini a little bit, because Caratini, Joe Musgrove said Caratini made him throw out no-hitter. And he said it's because of Darvish, because Caratini has worked with Darvish so much with that repertoire. Has so much, such a good catcher mind around it that he can work with other pitchers very, very well. And, like you said, he's been super clutch. Hits grand slams, hits walk-offs, hits home runs off good pitchers, and came over with Darvish as a personal catcher. And that deal has been, it's paid incredible dividends.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's nothing else you can really say about it. It's been so phenomenally good. Just to watch him pitch has been a privilege.
Oh yeah,
and I know that sounds like a lofty thing to say, but it really has.
Oh yeah,
and I'm gonna say this: out of all of my years as a Padre fan, I think Darvish is the best starting pitcher we've ever had on our team.
It's just hard to. Yeah, I think you're right in like.
The amount of stuff he has, the amount of poise he has.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about great
And longevity,
longevity.
too. Like, yeah.
Pitchers that I've seen the Padres had that have been dominant. Kevin Brown, phenomenal pitcher. Back the 1 year he was pitching for us. And Jake Peavy.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't think of any other.
I wasn't around the Ryan Jones era.
Neither was I.
We're not that old.
We're not that old. No. But as far as I have seen, and I've been aware of the Padres since the late 80s,
Right.
he's been the best pitch starter we've had.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Jake Peavy obviously.
Jake Peavy was dominant beyond belief.
Yeah.
And I would love to have a Peavy back on our team. But there's just something about Darvish that makes you think when he takes the mound, he's going to get us a win every time.
Hasn't hit a home run, though, so.
He hasn't hit a home run yet. No, he wants to.
Yeah.
Hasn't hit a home run yet.
James, wrapping up, we can't help but look back and look at things we need to improve. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I think we've talked about in previous episodes what we are disappointed and need to improve, but what are your general thoughts looking forward to the next 81 games? What do we need to improve? What things do
Well, so we titled those biggest disappointment, what do we need to improve?
Yeah.
I'll start with what do we need to improve, and then I'll end with what disappointment, and then you can go.
Okay.
What we need to improve, we are getting Pierce Johnson and Drew Pomeranz back in the bullpen today, and we're also getting Weathers back. I think that improves our bullpen exponentially, and I think that'll probably fix a lot of our pitching rotation. The one thing that we need to improve, I think right now, is the bench. We need a bat to get off the bench. There is no reason why Jorge Mateo has been on our team the entire year. He has contributed nothing except for one speedy play to the plate where he scored a run, but it happened to be that he started on the second because of his extra innings. He doesn't get on second his own by himself. He just can't do that. We need a bat off the bench. I don't know how we're going to get that, but we need somebody consistent, a hitter off the bench that we can go, oh, it's next. We need a Mark Sweeney. We need a John Vanderwall. We need a Matt Stairs. We need somebody like that.
Matt Stairs.
Do you remember in case of emergency, use the stairs?
Oh, yeah. Matt Stairs' glove is still the one that the shared glove between Myers, Profar, and Cronenworth. True story.
They all share a glove?
Matt Stairs' first baseman glove, yeah. They all share that glove.
Oh.
So his legacy is still alive today.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So that all right. Did not know that, but that's good to know. I think that's the most improvement. We need someone off the bench. The biggest disappointment on this year, and it has to be Mackenzie Gore.
Wow. I was thinking of a different lefty.
I am so tired of hearing Mackenzie Gore's name.
Some of our podcast listeners may not know who Mackenzie Gore is.
He is our top prospect in the minor league system.
For 20 years.
For the last 4 years, all we've heard about is how great Mackenzie Gore is.
4 years, but it's been a couple years.
In a year in which I have seen the entire AAA pitching staff come up here and do good jobs in our bullpen, Mackenzie Gore, I think is overhyped, and I would say Preller, trade Gore for a bat. We don't need Gore anymore.
Drafted third overall in 2017.
4 years.
He had an epic 2017 as an AZL Padre with a 1.7 ERA, and then 2018 regressed a little bit, but in 2019 had an incredible 1.02 ERA over 15 starts. And then since then, he's not done so well.
What I'm saying is, in a year in which I've seen so many, because we're just keeping basically we have our main bullpen, and then we have several guys who in a AAA system that can be big league bullpen pieces come up and keep rotating, doing good jobs. Mackenzie Gore, I said from the beginning of the season I wanted to see him up this season. I am so tired of people talking about Mackenzie Gore. I want him gone. I don't want to worry about him. Next time I hear Mackenzie Gore's name is, Mackenzie Gore is getting a start against the Padres.
Right.
I am over Mackenzie Gore. I want him to be a bat. I want him to be gone, to be traded for something to piece us to get us to the World Series. That's my biggest disappointment. You, Joe?
I'm going to say a little bit of Mackenzie Gore and defend him just a little bit. He is only 22. Pitches are hard to develop. He has very odd mechanics. Not very odd. There's a lot of moving parts. He's a big old leg kick. Kershaw-esque delivery. And I think probably our problem is the Padres probably shouldn't have said, this guy's the next Clayton Kershaw and he'll be ready to pitch when he's 20. Probably in hindsight, not something you should put on top of a 18-year-old.
Probably. But
it's just tough because you see Weathers show up.
I was gonna say,
Mason Thompson
Weathers,
show up. You see these kids, like these literal kids, and they're like throwing gas and
that are younger than Gore.
Yeah.
That are doing big league stuff.
Right. And currently, MLB Pipeline still rates him as the best pitching prospect in all of baseball because his stuff is that good when it's right. He's currently not playing in competitive leagues. He's being sent to focus on mechanics in Peoria Sports Complex in Arizona. So there is something weird going on with it, and it's going to be weird when we see C.J. Abrams show up before Mackenzie Gore.
Yes.
C.J. Abrams was selected 2 years ago, and hitting the screws off the ball.
He's tearing things off.
There's no way C.J. Abrams is in the majors next year. And we have a real logjam unless someone plays the outfield. So
yeah,
we'll see who plays the outfield.
We'll see who plays the outfield. Yeah.
For my disappointed need to improve, let's start need to improve. I think you're absolutely right. I won't rehash what you said. I think the big thing is I think we need. And Mason Thompson might be this guy. I think we need someone like Trevor Rosenthal, just a complete fireballer to destroy the bottom of orders. I don't necessarily need a Trevor Rosenthal closer. I don't need a new closer. But I would like another guy that just can be like, hey, I throw 100 miles an hour and I'm tough to compete with. And bottom of the order, guys are going to struggle against it with bat speed's not going to catch up to someone that's going to devastate you. I think that's important because I think that I worry a little bit about the 6th and the 7th inning. The Padres have. I think that us getting another starter is now complicated considering the good starters we have that are available are now in competitive teams again.
Exactly.
Thanks, Kyle Schwarber.
No, what's up with that guy? Anyways.
So I think the likelihood of us is probably needing better bullpen help. And what that means is a deeper bullpen. And I think that we're going to need a guy that can come in the 5th or 6th or 7th and just dominate with gasoline. And Mason Thompson might be that guy. Mason Thompson is a kid who's, according to StatCast, only throws one pitch, but I think Mark Grant was saying he throws two, which is a two-seamer and a sinker.
They're both 100 miles an hour.
98, 100 miles an hour, yeah. And
one straight laser, the other dips 6 inches.
So I think that's very important. I think it's especially in when you need to get quick innings in the playoffs, that's pretty important. I think we both could easily have said a starter, but I just don't know. And maybe it is this week. Blake Snell is sick today. Ryan Weathers question if it comes up, Lamette's hurt. So I think maybe starter becomes more a big deal if Lamette isn't healthy again. But I think as it stands now, if everyone comes back healthy in the next 10 days, I think a power relief arm is something I would rather have.
Okay.
Because do you want in the playoffs? Do you want to have Nabil Krizmat, or do you want a guy that throws 100 miles an hour?
I want a guy that can throw 100 miles an hour.
Right. I like Nabil Krizmat. I mean, he's done great innings for us. But in the playoffs, I want the guy who's just completely dominant. Yeah. Disappointed. I've said this previously. I think Eric Hosmer needs to really turn it around. He has had a much better approach. He's kind of reworked his swing. He is hitting balls in the air. But the first half, he was NL Player of the Week the first week of baseball. Had an incredible first week and just completely dipped. He is the worst in WAR in our team. He sports a negative 0.8 wins above replacement. Means he's worse than an average replacement player.
And so for those of you that don't follow this, all of our other 9 starters are above replacement.
Yeah.
Including Will Myers, who has not the best
Including
year.
Ha-Sung Kim.
Including Ha-Sung Kim. And those guys haven't had the best years, but they're better than Hosmer.
Yeah, Myers had a very slow and not close to what his career years have been, but he's still above replacement because he can still defend. He can still put together a decent-ish at bat, and he can still hit balls in the air. And Hosmer he looks lost at the plate sometimes, and he just drives ball into the ground, and that's been kind of. I really I have high expectations for him because he was brought in
as a veteran presence,
right?
As a person who's been to the World Series before, as a leader. That was his whole purpose of signing.
Yep, and he just needs to be better. And I think that, yeah, to say I'm disappointed obviously I'm disappointed in it, but he's a Major League Baseball player and he's having much better approaches at the plate. I mean, he may not have the results for it. We said the same thing about Tommy Pham. Tommy Pham for a long time just stunk. Part of that's because he was recovering from being slashed in the back, but his approach was always good. And Hosmer, I'm hoping the same thing. And then we'll look at it, and Hosmer's going to be the World Series MVP, and I'll just be like, yeah, I'll eat all the humble pie, you know. And when he hit that 2-run homer against the Reds, I'm like, yeah. I guess if that's what you bring is like the highest anxiety points every game, you're just incredible. I'm like, maybe it's okay. You're a negative wins above replacement player. I don't know.
No, because the rest of the 9 innings, you need to contribute for the first 9 innings as well.
But like I said, I'm excited to see the approach, what comes about it, and I think, but rightly so, the tonight's game, Myers and Hosmer are 6 and 7 in the lineup, which I think that's exactly that's where they need to be because the other people are producing way better. But James, that is all we have for today. Very excited for Padres baseball. Very excited for the second half of the year.
It's going to be awesome.
We'll still be podcasting. We'll be coming at you every week. Remember to follow us on @Brothers Padre. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on all the podcast places.
Tune in next week because Joey and I have a special all-star voting where we're going to pick all the best Jameses and all the best Joeys and put them against each other. It's going to be awesome.
Very Padres related.
Very Padres related. Very well. Brothers Padre related.
Until next time, James, go Padres.
Go Padres.
And there it is! Ho-ho, doctor! You can hang a star